Okay, are we live?
We are live.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our town council meeting, our second meeting in September. I'd like to welcome everybody tonight. I'm sorry for the delay. We were having a few technical difficulties. So this is the first time since last March that we're actually in the same building. But we are trying to space ourselves so we don't get feedback. So we're having a few issues, but anyway, that seems to be okay now. And so at this point, I'd like to call our meeting to order. Councillors, before you, you have your agenda. It's quite lengthy tonight. Before we move forward, I need an approval of the agenda. You can just raise your hands. We have an approval, a seconder, approved by Councillor Edshade, second by Councillor Colburn. All in favor, raise your hand. Contrary minded, and motion is passed. Also, council, before you, you have previous minutes of town council meetings. There was the meeting of June 22nd, 2020, and the special town council meeting of June 25th, 2020. If there's no errors or omissions, I would need those minutes to be approved, please. Moved by Councillor Clark. I need a seconder. Councillor Thompson. All in favor of those minutes, please. Contrary minded, motion is passed. So we're going to get right to work tonight under number 4, which is our new business. It is my duty to do a proclamation tonight, something that I always like to do. And our proclamation is called the Right to Know Week. And I would like to read it. I'm going to read this in full. So the proclamation reads, the Right to Know Week, which will be September 28th to October 4th, 2020. Whereas the town of Oxford has adopted the principles of openness, transparency, and accountability, and whereas Part 20 of the Municipal Government Act gives citizens a right to access information in the custody or under the control of the town of Oxford, and whereas the access of the information ensures citizens of Nova Scotia have the opportunity for meaningful participation in the democratic process, and whereas a celebration of the right of citizens to access information will facilitate, inform public participation in policy formulation, ensure fairness in government decision-making, and permit the airing and reconciliation of divergent views, and whereas the town joins all other Canadian jurisdictions and democracy worldwide in the acknowledgement of the International Right to Know Week. Therefore, be it resolved, I, Mayor Patricia Stewart, do hereby proclaim September 28th to October 4th, 2020 to be the Right to Know Week in the town of Oxford. Okay. Next of all, we have a Cumberland Map Community Vibrancy and Harm Reduction Champion Award. I do believe Councillor Clark is going to speak about this.
Yes, I was asked to speak briefly. I'd like to thank the town of Oxford, the mayor, and the council for their support of our harm reduction. There's all kinds of things going on, more so in the drugs and alcohol side rather than alcohol, but we need to continue working on it. And thank you for your support.
Thank you very much. That's that comes from the municipal alcohol, alcohol and, I'm sorry, Dave, what was it? The municipal MAP. What's MAP stand for?
Municipal Alcohol Program.
Yeah. That comes from them to us, and we're very appreciative of that. Councillor Thompson, did you have something there that you had to give?
Yes.
Okay, I'll come in.
So that was the award that was received by the town of Oxford.
Thank you. Under 4.3, this is the funding application for the FCM for the asset management. This is something that we talked about in the committee of the whole. I'm just going to let Rachel do just a brief overview of it, and then we do have to make that into a motion.
Thank you, Your Worship. So just following up on the explanation at the Committee of the Whole meeting, this is an application. It's a joint application with I think 3 other municipalities who are currently in the asset management cohort group that we're doing to map out our water utility assets. And if we do a joint application to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, 90% of the cost of the funding, up to $50,000, is awarded to us, which means that our cost is less than $5,000. The application window closes tomorrow, so we've done all of the preparation through the AIM network. They've been facilitating this for us, and they do a lot of work in the background for us. So if council approves and makes the motion this evening, which is attached to the RFD, the motion is there. We need to pass that exact motion, and we will provide that to the AIM network as part of our application package, and hopefully we'll get the funding.
Okay, so I'm going to read out the motion, and then we will need a mover and a seconder. And the motion would be that the town of Oxford submit a joint application for direct funding through the Federation of Canadian Municipalities to fund up to 90% or $50,000 to complete the town's asset inventory.
Actually, Your Worship, the motion is the attached page to that. We've got a specific one, and so I can read it out for you if you'd like. It's a longer one. So the proposed motion for the asset management program funding application, be it resolved that council directs staff to apply for a grant opportunity from the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Municipal Asset Management Program for asset management inventory and capital projections. Be it therefore resolved that the town of Oxford commits to conducting the following activities in its proposed project submitted to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Municipal Asset Management Program to advance our asset management program. Activity 1, prepare an inventory of major assets, including roads, sidewalks, sewers, storm, trails, fleet, and municipal-owned buildings and structures in spreadsheet and GIS. Activity 2, undertake condition assets on all town infrastructure. Activity 3, prepare state of infrastructure reports, a preliminary capital program, and fact sheets for public information. Be it further resolved that the town commits $4,830 from its budget toward the cost of this initiative. So that's
Okay,
what we need a mover.
okay, we need a mover and a seconder, please. Okay, Deputy Mayor Draper moves it, and it's seconded by Councillor Edshade. All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Okay. Under 4.4, we have dangerous and unsightly premises reports, and this is for our information. So I'm going to turn this back over to you, Rachel.
Certainly, thank you, Your Worship. As you know, as Council knows, there's been a number of dangerous and/or unsightly properties throughout the town. It's been a challenge to get to start working on them, but we have had a few that we've addressed either through our solid waste bylaw or through the dangerous and unsightly legislation. Per the Municipal Government Act, the administrator of the dangerous and unsightly premises, which is me, which I've been appointed to by council, were to report at least twice a year to council on properties that have had orders or have outstanding orders. So I've provided that information to you today, just as you, so that you are aware. There were a couple of other properties that we worked with both the development officer and the building permit inspector around permissible uses and compatible uses within a residential zone. So those have also been resolved.
Okay. Thank you very much. So on my list, I can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties have been given some direction. One, I believe, that has been resolved. So that is progress. So thank you very much. And we look forward to everybody having things clean and tidy. Okay, right now we're going to, under 4.5, we're going to talk about accounting improvements and issues report. And this is also for our information, which Rachel's going to talk about. I read the report and I thought it was a very good, very informative report. It gives all kinds of insight as to what our officer here does.
Thank you, Your Worship. So I thought it was important because this position is new with the organization, and Ruth Ann Brookins has been with us for just over 6 months, almost 9 months now. And so I thought it was timely that we provide an update to council on some of the background work that she's doing outside of the daily accounts payable and payroll and just general oversight and accounting work. I thought it was important for council to see the issues that we've been trying to resolve, that we've been encountering and resolving in the organization. It is quite time consuming. Much of it is a little bit confusing or certainly not straightforward because of staff turnover and record keeping and those types of things. So we wanted to make sure that you were kept well aware of some of the changes and some of the challenges that we're experiencing in our daily operations and provide that for information. Certainly, if anybody has questions, I'll try to answer them now.
Okay, council, so I am going to open it up to the floor to have, if you have any questions whatsoever that you would like to ask. I'll just remind you that if you are talking, other people have to mute. Is there any questions? Okay, I do have a few comments myself after reading the report. I can see that some of our practices in the past, for example, you know, just going back on different types of payments and things back to 2011. And I really liked the way Ruth Ann explained it. It's like what she say, when you pull a thread, you get a big sweater in your lap. So one thing leads to the next thing and leads to the next thing of things that need to be tidied up and put in order. So I think Ruth Ann has been very valuable in the fact that she's enabled us to get things in a very good order. And that things are now being done in a timely manner where something now takes, you know, an hour to complete. It used to take half a day before. So it's about time management and how to do things properly. So also that I feel like some of um, the different ways in which we had to do things were, they really needed to be upgraded, all computerized. And there was a lot of things being done manually that took a lot of time. And whereas now you can go on an Excel spreadsheet and everything is there, and then you can bring it right back up. So I just want to say too that it's really great having Ruth Ann here, and I think she's a real asset to the town. And she's got a lot of work on her plate, but she seems to be keeping up no problem. So anyway, thank you, Ruth Ann. Under 4.6, we have our strategic priorities chart. This is going to be an update that's done tonight just to let us know where we are. We will need a motion to approve this update after it's presented.
Thank you, Your Worship. So we try to do this quarterly, and as we know, COVID interrupted our March, April update, and everything got a little bit backlogged from there without any capacity to really move forward on very much of our key priorities that Council had already identified. So I took some time to go through where we are with the identified priorities. In the now category, we're still waiting to hear back from Public Service Canada on our police services review. The asset management strategy, which was not at first an identified or an approved strategic priority when we did this review, it has since been approved by Council to do, and there's a lot of reasons to do that. And so when we take a look down in the operational strategies, where it says asset management strategy, it's also going to address a number of other previously identified strategies. The 3-year capital plan, the service capacity review, the water pipe replacement, and potentially the community center. And so by doing that one project, and that's what we've just approved this evening, to take a look at all of our assets and map those out and start doing planning on how we approach the replacement or the development of assets, that's really going to take a big chunk out of these identified strategic priorities. And so the first set of that with the water utility, we expect to have that completed by January, and we'll keep moving forward on the rest of the assets pending our application to the FCM. The mass alert system, we're looking for some options. We did a little bit of identifying some opportunities there, or some options back in the spring. I think we can do a little bit more to talk about what kind of budget implications that would mean, and bring some more, perhaps some more fleshed out options or recommendations through our REMO program. So we'll keep working forward on that. Hopefully within the spring, by April 2021, we'll have something forward, and that will be within the budget discussion as well. Again, the 3-year capital plan, February 2021, that will start to come out of our asset management program. And our source water protection, water management strategy, we actually do have a strategy that I wasn't aware of when we first did this strategic planning process. We've managed to get a copy of it from Dillon Consulting, who did the work on it and helped us with it. And so it'll be time to take a look at that document and do a bit of a review and make sure that it's refreshed and current and accurate. So we're anticipating that with all of the work through the winter and fall, that we should be able to take a look at that and really bring it up to speed, considering that we'll have a new council in the fall, and we'll have orientation and a whole lot of work ahead of us. We're hoping to be able to do that operationally by the summer. As you can see, we don't have very much within the recreation or community economic development services or protective services, a little bit in public works, more so into finance and administration, but the bulk of that falls to the CAO. And so there's only so much that we can manage with the workload. And that's why at this point, we're looking at the timeframes that are being proposed on the chart. So if there are any questions, I'd certainly be happy to try to answer them.
Okay, council, any questions for Rachel? Okay, chatty crew tonight. Oh, yes, Councillor Edgey.
Just where do we add extra things to this, these priorities, Rachel?
So it would be a matter of a discussion at council. Here's the priority. Let's talk about where it fits. If everyone agrees, then we adjust this priority. Certainly when the new council comes in, we'll want to take a look at reviewing the strategic priorities document and the chart and making sure that everybody's still on the same page and having that forward discussion as a group. And go from there. But certainly if council has something like they did with the asset management program, they agreed that that would be something that is important to take on. So I've kind of worked it in here to make it more of a priority than perhaps it was in the beginning.
I do know that one thing that we talked about when we went through our meetings was the ATV access downtown and stuff like that. I just don't know if that's got thrown out or where that is in it.
So that was on the advocacy for council, and I've moved it a little bit. It's not gone because it's still within our document. I've been reaching out to NSFM to see where the pilot project is and what anybody's doing about it, and it seems to have stalled. There doesn't seem to be an awful lot of work being done through the province. It's not at a municipal level that we're able to change those laws, and NSFM and the province have other priorities at this point that they're not pushing that forward.
So if we went to, say, an ATV club and got them to maybe step up with that bands and stuff, do you think that could make it happen a little better, faster?
It's a good question, and I'm not sure. There are such broad and widely impacting issues at the province and NSFM at this point, with property caps and with COVID and with reopening and with the economic development and assessment. NSFM has chosen to put forward 3 to 5 priorities each year, I think, and really focus them down into broad sweeping priorities that affect the majority of the province. This is something that I would agree it does affect the majority of the province. I'm not sure that we're able to get a lot of traction on it. If it's something that council would like to do a letter writing campaign to NSFM, to the province, to other municipalities, that's certainly something that you can provide direction to the CAO to start doing, and we can kind of incorporate it into a general work plan.
So I just wonder if we did approach an ATV club or something, and if they wanted to work with us on it, if it's something that we could maybe move forward through with a committee and made up of them and some council members or some townspeople.
I just wonder about our capacity to do a whole lot on it. Certainly it's an option. I think we need to be cautious about establishing committees, terms of reference, who has the authority, what the purpose is, those types of things, not just a group of people who want to get something done and then have no clear direction or nobody steering that ship. It is important to do, and it is important to do in consultation with those groups and with the people who actually know the situation and have some thoughts and recommendations and some considerations. But again, that would be, I'd need council's full decision on that to be able to move forward on it.
I would like to recommend that that Councillor Edshade, after our new mayor and council comes in, maybe to bring this forth again. I think that, if you bring it to the attention of NSFM, it's not dead in the water. So, and I think it's important that we do that. Now, I do understand a lot of other things have been thrown our way since that time. But Councillor, I believe that you've been working on this for how many years? 15? Yeah, okay. So yeah, and it's something that I really thought that we would be able to do by now. We really had hoped that we were part of the pilot project, but anyway, that's my recommendation. Don't give up. Keep going. Okay.
I can reach out again to NSFM and see if there's any other progress. I'll make a note of that, and Wilbur at NSFM has been my contact there, and so I'll check with him to see what else he can provide for us.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so that was the information on the strategic priorities chart, our update. I will need a motion from Councillor to approve the update as it was presented. Moved by Councillor Sweet and seconded by Councillor Thompson. All in favor? Contrary minded? And that motion is passed. Okay, so now we move on to the reports portion of our agenda. And the first report is under Public Works. As you will see, there's 2 months involved in the report, both July and August. After council has had the opportunity to review that report, I'm wondering if there's any questions from council. Okay, no questions? That's awesome. Okay, forwarding on. Under 5.2, we have the Finance General Operating Budget Variance Report. This report is from April 1st to September 15th, 2020. Councillor, you all have the report in front of you, and in particular, Rachel, is there anything that you would like to point out specifically before I ask councillors if they have any questions?
No, I don't think so. We've tried to include some comments on the side to help explain some of those larger variances. We've done well with our taxation revenue. Our grants, our grant in lieu, we still need to apply for those, but Ruth Ann has been really busy just slogging through getting ready for our audit, doing year-end tax billings and water billing. So we've had a very busy summer to get all of that done. We will continue to refine this as Ruth Ann's her learning curve is getting a little less steep, and she's understanding the processes and she's understanding where the numbers are. The only other thing that I could probably add to it is that there hasn't been a lot of consistency around where some of the things have been allocated. So we're trying to establish now why things are going into a budget line, where they belong, and to do so on a consistent basis going forward. And so it might look different from what it was last year or the year before, but some things like some of the public works employees, their salaries have been allocated to the wrong budget line. And so we're tracking through that. And we spoke a little bit about that with the report that Ruth Ann provided earlier in the agenda. So we're tracking some of those things and finding those issues. And at this point, trying to attempt that this year will be our new benchmark as to how we allocate and where we allocate expenses and revenues, and consistently going forward and documenting what goes in a budget line, why, and so that both the directors and people who are signing off on invoices, that they understand where the correct allocation goes as well.
Okay. I think one thing that I noted is that our deed transfer tax is up substantially. I think we're over the amount that we had targeted for, and we're in the month of September. So that's been beneficial for us as a town. And it just goes to show that houses are selling, and it's a little bit of revenue that is always nice to get. It's very helpful. Okay, council, I'm going to open the floor to anybody else that has any questions or comments on it.
Thank you, Your Worship. Federal government announced major restart funding for COVID-19, of which Nova Scotia, I believe, got 239 million. 77.3 million of that was allocated to municipalities to assist them and support them through this program. Has Oxford been given any idea what their share of that will be yet?
I've not received any notification on that, and I haven't had the opportunity to really dig too far into it. I'll make a note of it and kind of follow up for sure.
Okay, I'll follow up on that if I may. Based on the percentages that they were using on a per capita basis, it looks like in the vicinity of $50,000 to $60,000 probably. And I'm wondering if those funds will be put directly into savings, or will they be allocated to other things related to this year's budget?
I'd want to take a look at there may be some criteria associated with what they can or cannot be used for. So I'd have to dig a little bit deeper on that for sure.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? No? Okay. We have the fire report under 5.3. After your opportunity to look it over, is there any questions for our fire chief? Okay. Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Just a question. I can't help but notice that the majority of our calls are county. Wondering if it would be worthwhile to do an assessment over the last 2 or 3 years on percentage of calls county versus town in preparation for the 2021 budget process and as we approach the municipality of Cumberland.
We can certainly do that. We do have an agreement that I have to take a look at how long the agreement lasts around their contribution to us for fire service, for fire protection. So we do have a contract on that, but we'll take a look at that, and certainly taking a look at the percentage of calls is a good idea.
Just on that note, I realize our fire department has been very busy in the last number of days, whether they're giving mutual aid to other communities, which seems to have been the case. But I just want to take this opportunity to really thank the volunteers, firefighters out there that continue to always work hard, but not just for the community of Oxford, but all the surrounding areas, and being supportive of other fire departments and working together. So just hats off to you folks for doing a great job. Okay, now we're going to move on to the Public Library Board report. Councillors, you've had the opportunity to read that one. Was there any questions on that? Okay, Rachel, at this time, do we give any update on the library, or will that come for our committee of the whole meeting?
I can give a little bit. We're developing up Ruthie's back in the office today, and so we're putting together a newsletter for the community, and so it'll talk a little bit about that. But we have a draft lease in place for a new location. We expect it to be at the old Oxford Journal location, and so we have to do a little bit of renovation there to make sure that we have an accessible washroom and get that work done. And before we can actually move in. So we're hoping later this fall.
Okay, that's fantastic. I know that the community really missed the library, and we had a temporary location, but I'm very happy to hear that once again we'll have a home, and it's in a great location. You know, you can rent a book or borrow a book and go on the treadmill. So it's great for everybody involved, or borrow some music, but no, I'm really happy. I think that that is a huge asset for the town. So stay tuned. Under 5.5, we had the municipal alcohol program minutes. The minutes were from May 28th, July 16th, August 13th, and the 3rd of September 2020. There was 4 different sets. Councillor Clark, you are the representative on that. Is there anything there you wanted to talk about at all?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay, very good. If there was any questions on those reports? All right. I think that is all our reports that we have. So I do need a motion to accept those reports, please.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure can.
It's great that we have a place for the library. Do we have any idea what the cost of the renovations will be?
Not yet. I have to meet with the contractor to get that quote. We're having a challenging time connecting at that point.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Council, I do need a motion to accept those reports. Moved by Deputy Mayor Draper. I need a seconder, please. Seconded by Councillor Edshade. All those in favor? Contrary minded, and the motion is passed. So the last little bit of information I have was some correspondence. We received a thank you note from a student from OREC that received one of our bursaries, Raylene Can, and she will be attending university, or is attending university, and sent us her proof of enrollment and a big thank you note thanking us for the support that she received. And I just wanted her to know that we received it and we are grateful, and it's wonderful to see our students moving forward in their lives. Anyway, that is all I have for our meeting tonight. Yes, Councillor or Deputy Mayor Draper.
Just wondering if it would be appropriate or timely to discuss what's happening with our storefront improvement program, or is it too early to talk about that?
It's a little too early. We have to have a signed agreement first.
Okay, thank you.
That'll be in the newsletter hopefully next week.
Okay. All right, motion for adjournment. Moved by Deputy Mayor Draper. All in favor? Motion passed. Okay, see you folks in 2 weeks or 5 minutes.